महाराज की
जय।
जय। ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की
जय।
आनंद कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की
जय।
मामाचार्य दास ठाकुर की
जय।
प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैत राधरा शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की
जय।
गो प्रेमानंदे।
हरि हरि बोल।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 Hare Krishna. Happy you are here, Siddhamaji. Very nice of
हरे
you.
कृष्णा। हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Yes, it's nice of you. It's good that you come. That's a right thing also.
यस यस प्रभु जी।
Of
Actually प्रभु जी, we have no alternative. He is only everything. Krishna is only everything. How
yes,
can we
yes.
leave him at any point of time? How can we leave him, Prabhuji?
Definitely not. All the time he is with us only, and we cannot be. I mean, we cannot separate ourselves
Yes,
from him. All the time
yes,
he's with us only. So whatever happens, we stick to Krishna. Things may
yes,
happen according to his will only, according to our own respective karmas. Things will go on happening. But our
yes,
duty is to stick to Krishna all the time.
yes, yes, Prabhuji.
And you have done the right thing in these circumstances. Very good, Maji. So you are actually in the right path, you're right duty. Congratulations. So we'll start the class. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Creation, Chapter 10, Departure of Lord Krishna for Dwaraka, and today verses 1 to 3. Text 1, Shaunaga Vacha, Hatvam
Atva
Swarikta
Swarikta
Rudha
Vridha
Atataino
Atataino
Yudhishthiro
Yudhishthiro
Dharmabridam
Dharmabhrutam
Varishtam
Varishta
Saha
Saha
Anujay
Anujay
Pratyavarudha
Pratyavarudha
Bhojana
Bhojana
Kadham
Katham
Pravritta
Pravritah
Kim
Kim
Akarishit
Akarishyai
Tatha
Tataha
Shaunaka Vacha
Saunakavacha
Hatva Sudiktaspridha Adataino
Hatva Saritha Smritha Tataino
Yudhishthiro Dharmabridam Varishta
Yudhishthiro Dharmabhrutam Varishta
Dhanuje Pratyavaruddha Bhojana
Sahanujahi Pratyavarudha Bhojanam
Kadam Pravritta Kimakarishi Tata
Katham Pravruttah Kimakarashi Tataha
Shaunaka Uvacha
Saunaka Uvacha
Hatva Surikta Spridha Swarikta Pratha Adataino
Atva Swarikta Pratha Atataino
Dishtiro Dharmabridam Varishta
Yudhishthiro Dharmabhrutam Varishta
Dhanujay Pratyavaruddha Bhojana
Sahanujahi Pratyavarudha Bhojanam
Kadam Pravritta Kimakarishat Tada
Katham Pravruttah Kimakari
Karishi Tada.
Sahtata.
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Maji.
Krishna Prabhuji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shaunaka Uvacha. Hatva Sarikta Spritha Apataino Yudhishthiro Dharmabhridam Varishta Sahanujay Pratyavaruddha Bhojana Katham Pravritta Kimakarashitata. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Manohari Maji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shaunaka Vacha हत्वा स्वरिक्तस्पृद आततायिनो युधिष्ठिरो धर्मभृतां वरिष्ठः सहानुजै प्रत्यावरुद्धभोजनः कथं प्रवृत्ता किमाकर्षिततः। हरे कृष्ण।
Yes, Snigdhamaji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। शौनकोवाच हत्वा सरित्थ स्पृथ आततायिनो युधिष्ठिरो धर्मभृतां वरिष्ठः सहानुजैः प्रत्यवरुद्धभोजनः कथं प्रवृत्तः किमकारषि ततः। Synonyms.
Yes.
Saunaka Uvacha, Saunaka inquired, Hatva, after killing, Swaritha, the legal inheritance, Spratha, desiring, to Asrab, Atataina, the aggressors, Yudhishthiraha, King Yudhishthira, Dharmabrata, of those who strictly follow religious principles, Varishtaha, greatest, Saha Anujay, with his younger brothers, Pratyavaruddha, restricted, Bhojanaha, acceptance of necessities, Katham, how, Pravarti, engaged, Kim, what, Akarshit, executed, Tataha, thereafter. Translation. Sonakamani asked, after killing his enemies who desired to usurp his rightful inheritance, how did the greatest of all religious men, Maharaja Yudhishthira, assisted by his brothers, rule his subjects? Surely he could not freely enjoy his kingdom with unrestricted consciousness. Purport. By his divine grace, ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्णा
Yes.
प्रभु जी।
Yes,
Let
yes.
me, yes, let me quit the class, Prabhuji. I have to go. My bus is ready now.
What is ready?
Bus is ready, Prabhuji.
Bus.
Yes, yes, I have to move.
Oh, okay, right. Right. So, purport. Maharaja Yudhishthira was the greatest of all men of religion. Thus, he was not at all inclined to fight with his cousins for the sake of enjoying the kingdom. He fought for the right cause because the kingdom of Hastinapura was his rightful inheritance and his cousins wanted to usurp it for themselves. He fought, therefore, for the right cause under the guidance of Lord Krishna, but he could not enjoy the results of a victory because his cousins were all killed in the fight. He, therefore, ruled our kingdom as a matter of duty, assisted by his younger brothers. The inquiry was important for Shaunaga Rishi, who wanted to know about the behavior of Maharaja Yudhishthira when he was at ease to enjoy the kingdom. Text 2. Sudavacha
Sudavaच
Vamsham
Vamsham
Puro
Puror
Vamshadvagni
Vamshadavagnim
Nirhridam
Nirhridam
Samrohitva
Samrohitva
Samrohayitva
Samrohayitva
Avabhavana
Bhavabhavana
Hari
Hari
Viveshayitva
Niveshayitva
Vijarajye
Nijarajya
Ishvaro
Ishvaro
Ishtiram
Yudhishtiram
Vitamana
Pridamana
Bahuva
Babhuva
Ha
Ha
Sudavacha
Sudavacha
Vamsham Kuro Vamshadvagni Nirhridam
Vamsham Kurorvamshadavagni Nirhridam
Samdohayitva Bhavano Hari
Samrohayitva Bhavabhavano Harihi
Veshayitva Nijaraja Ishvaro
Viveshayitva Nijaraja Ishvaro
Ishtiram Pritamana Bhaguvaha
Yudhishtiram Pridamana Babhuvaha
Sutavacha
Udavacham
Vamsham Kuro Vamshadvagni Nirhridam
Vamsham Kurorvamshadavagni Nirhridam
संरोहयित्वा भवभावनो हरि
संरोहयित्वा भवभावनो हरिः
निवेशयित्वा निजराज ईश्वरो
विवेचयित्वा निजराज्य ईश्वरो
युधिष्ठिरं प्रीतमना बभूवः
युधिष्ठिरं प्रीतमना बभूवः
सूत उवाच
सवाच
वंशं कुरो वंशद्वाग्निनिर्हृदम्
वंशं कुरोर्वंशदावाग्निनिर्हृतम्
संरोहयित्वा भवभावनो हरि
संरोहयित्वा भवभावनो हरिः
निवेशयित्वा निजराज्य ईश्वरो
विवेशयित्वा निजराज्य ईश्वरो
युधिष्ठिरं प्रीतमना बभूवः
युधिष्ठिरं प्रीतमना बभूवः
हरे कृष्ण जय श्रीमाजी
कृष्ण पृथ्वी नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय सुत उवाच वंशं कुरोर्वंशदवाग्निनिर्हृतं संरोहयित्वा भवभावनो हरि निवेशयित्वा निजराज्य ईश्वरो युधिष्ठिरं प्रीतमना बभूवः हरे कृष्ण
मनोहर माजी
हरे कृष्ण सुतवाच वंशं कुरोर्वंशदावाग्निनिर्हृतं संरोहयित्वा भावनो हरिः निवेशयित्वा निजराज्य ईश्वरो युधिष्ठिरं प्रीतमना बभूवः
हरे कृष्ण right Sudha Uvacha Sudha Goswami replied Vamsham dynasty Kuro of King Kuru Vamshadavagni a forest fire set by the bamboos Nirhridam exhausted Samrohitva seedling of the dynasty Bhava Bhavana the maintainer of creation Hari the personality of Godhead Shri Krishna Niveshayitva, having re-established Nijajajye in his own kingdom, Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, Yudhishtiram unto Maharaja Yudhishthira, Pritamanaha, pleased in his mind, Babuvaha became.
Can I read?
Yes. Translation. Sudha Goswami said, Harimaji.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, they can, definitely.
Translation. Sudha Goswami said, Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the maintainer of the world, became pleased after re-establishing Maharaja Yudhishthira in his own kingdom and after resorting the Kuru dynasty, which had been exhausted by the bamboo fire of anger. Purport by His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. This world is compared to a forest fire caused by the combustion of bamboo bushes. Such a forest fire takes place automatically, for bamboo combustion occurs with external cause. Similarly, in the material world, the wrath of those who want to lord it over material nature interacts, and the fire of war takes place, exhausting the unwanted population. Such fires or wars take place, and the Lord has nothing to do with them. But because he wants to maintain the creation, he desires the mass of people to follow the right path of self realization, which enables the living beings to enter into the kingdom of God. The Lord wants the suffering human being to come back home, back to him, and cease to suffer the threefold material pangs. The whole plan of creation is made in that way. And one who does not come to his senses suffers in the material world by pangs inflicted by the illusory energy of the Lord. The Lord therefore wants his bona fide representative to rule the world. Lord Sri Krishna descended to establish this sort of regime and to kill the unwanted persons who have nothing to do with his plan. The battle of Kurukshetra was fought according to the plan of the Lord, so that undesirable persons could get out of the world and a peaceful kingdom under his devotee could be established. The Lord was therefore fully satisfied when King Yudhishthira was on the throne and the seedling of the dynasty of Kuru in the person of Maharaja Parikshit was saved. Hare Krishna.
Text 3. Nishamya,
Nishamya
Bhishma,
Bhishma
Uktam,
Uktam
Atha,
Adha
Achyuta
Achyuta
Uktam
Oktam
Pravritta
Pravritta
Vijnana
Vijnana
Vidhuta
Vidudha
Vibrama
Vibrama
Shashasa
Sasasa
Kamindra
Indra
Gamindra
Iva
Viva
Jitashraya
Idasraya
Paridhi Upantam
Paryudyupantam
Paridhi Upantam
Paryudyubandam
Anuja
Anuja
Anuvartida
Anuvartida
Nishamya Bhishmoktam Madhachudoktam
Nishamya Bhishmoktam Adachudoktam
Pravritta Vijnana Vidhuda Viprama
Pravritta Vijnana Vidhuda Vibramaha
Asagamindra Ivajidashraya
Sasagamindraya Jidasraya
Vidyudapandam Anujanuvartida
Paryuddhapandam Anujanuvartidaham
Nishamya Bhishmoktamataachudoktam
Nisamya Bhishmoktam Adachudoktam
Pravritta Vijnana Vidhuda Viprama
Pravritta Vijnana Viduda Vibramaha
Asagamindra Ivajidashraya
Sasagamindraya Jidasraya
Vidyupantam Anujanuvartida
Paryuddhapandam Anujanuvartidaham
वासुदेवाय निशम्य भीष्मोक्तमधाच्युतोक्तम् प्रवृत्तविज्ञानविभूतविक्रमा शशासगामिन्द्र इवाजिदाश्रय परिध्युपान्दामनुजानुवर्तिता
Hare Krishna. Manohari Maji.
Krishna Nisamya Bhishmoktamadachudoktam Pravritta Vijnana Viduda Vibramaha Sasasagamindra Jidashraya Paryudyupandam Anujanuvartidaham.
Yes.
Synonymous Nisamya after listening. Bhishma Uktam, what was spoken by Bhishma Deva, Ada as also. Achyuta Uktam, what was spoken by the infallible Lord Krishna, Pravrita being engaged in. Vijnana, perfect knowledge. Viduda, completely watched. Vibrama, all misgiving. Sasasa, ruled over. Gam, the earth. Indra, the king of the heavenly planet. Iva, like. Ajidasrayaha, protected by the invisible Lord. Paridhi Ubandam, including the seas. Anuja, the younger brothers. Anuvartidaha, being followed by them. Translation. Maharaja Yudhishthira, after being enlightened by what was spoken by Bhishmadeva and Lord Sri Krishna, the infallible, engaged himself in matters of perfect knowledge because all his misgivings were eradicated. Thus he ruled over the earth and seas and was followed by his younger brothers. Purport by divine grace, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The modern English law of primogeniture primogeniture of the law of inheritance by the firstborn was also prevalent in those days when Maharaja Yudhishthira ruled the earth and seas. In those days, the king of Hastinapura, now part of New Delhi, was the emperor of the world, including the seas up to the time of Maharaja Parikshit, the grandson of Maharaja Yudhishthira. Maharaja Yudhishthira's younger brothers were acting as his ministers and commanders of state, and there was full cooperation between the perfectly religious brothers of the king. Maharaja Yudhishthira was the ideal king or representative of Lord Sri Krishna to rule over the kingdom of earth and was comparable to King Indra, the representative ruler of the heavenly planets. The demigods like Indra, Chandra, Surya, Varuna, and Vayu are representative kings of different planets of the universe. And similarly, Maharaja Yudhishthira was also one of them ruling over the kingdom of the earth. Maharaja Yudhishthira was not a typically unenlightened political leader of modern democracy. Maharaja Yudhishthira was instructed by Bhishmadeva and the infallible Lord also, and therefore he had full knowledge of everything in perfection. The modern elected executive head of a state is just like a puppet because he was no kingly power. Even if he is enlightened like Maharaja Yudhishthira, he cannot do anything out of his own goodwill due to his constitutional position. Therefore, there are so many states over the earth quarreling because of ideological differences or other selfish motives. But a king like Maharaja Yudhishthira had no ideology of his own. He had but to follow the instructions of the infallible Lord and the Lord's representative and the authorized agent Bhishmadeva. It is instructed in the Shastras that one should follow the great authority and the infallible Lord without any personal motive and manufactured ideology. Therefore, it was possible for Maharaja Yudhishthira to rule the whole world, including the seas, because the principles were infallible and universally applicable to everyone. The conception of one world state can only be fulfilled if we can follow the infallible authority. An imperfect human being cannot create an ideology acceptable to everyone. Only the perfect and the infallible can create a program which is applicable at every place and can be followed by all in the world. It is the person who rules and not the impersonal government. If the person is perfect, the government is perfect. If the person is a fool, the government is a fool's paradise. That is the law of nature. There are so many stories of imperfect kings or executive heads. Therefore, the executive head must be a trained person like Maharaja Yudhishthira, and he must have the full autocratic power to rule over the world. The conception of a world state can take shape only under the regime of a perfect king like Maharaja Yudhishthira. The world was happy in those days because there were king like Maharaja Yudhishthira to rule over the world. Hare Krishna.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chachurunmilidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namam Shri Chaitanya Mano Abhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Drupagada Mahyam Dadadi Swapadantigam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udavadagamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajadam Sahagana Raghunathan Vidam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निधि नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती नामिने श्रीवाशवानवी देवी दैत्याय कृपाब्धये कृष्णसम्बन्धविज्ञानदायिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योजर प्रेमाढ्या श्रीरूपानुगा भक्तिदा गौरकरुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनदारिणे रूपानुगा विरुधव सिद्धान्त द्वन्द्वहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्बर साम्बोधे पादाम्बुजे ते नमः नम भक्ति विनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगवराय ते गौराविर्भभूमिस्तं निर्दिष्टा सज्जनप्रिया वैष्णवसार्वभौमौ श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः श्रीरूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्रीजीव गोपाल भट्टाधास रघुनाथ एचय गोसाय कोरिचरण बंदन जहामोति विज्ञानाशभीष्टपूरन् वाञ्छा कल्पतरुश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। पंच नमो महाधन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तियम्। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोवेशा गोपिका कांदा राधा कांदा नमस्तुते। जयधाम सुरदोपंगो मम मंदमतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदाम्बोजो राधा मदन मोहनो दिव्यवृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमदा श्रीमद्नागन सिंहासनस्थो श्रीमद् राधा शीलगोविन्ददेवो प्रेष्ठादिविसेव्यमानो स्मरामि। श्रीमन् रासरसारम्भ्यं श्रीवडतडस्थितः कषन्मेणुस्वनैर्गोपी गोपीनाथश्येतुनाम् तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैतगदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्दा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। रौनक उवाच हत्वा सुरिक्तस्कृत आददायिनो युधिष्ठिरो धर्मभृदां वरिष्ठां सहानुजै प्रत्यवरुद्धभोजना कथं प्रवृत्ता किमुकारशीत तदा। Translation: Shaunaga Muni asked, after killing his enemies who desired to usurp his rightful inheritance, how did the greatest of all religious men, Maharaja Yudhishthira, assisted by his brothers, rule his subjects? Surely he could not freely enjoy the kingdom with unrestricted consciousness. Hare Krishna. So, this chapter is telling me Lord Krishna is returning to Dwarka after firmly establishing Yudhishthira as an emperor of Bharata at Hastinapura. And so Shaunaka Rishi, after hearing this, is very happy. Every Rishi is assembled in this that place where this yajna is taking place. Very happy about this because they were happy that Yudhishthira has regained his throne, which has been usurped by Adadayana. Adadayana means bhigaras or terrorists or the aggressors. The aggressors, of course, is Duryodhana. Kauravas headed by Duryodhana, who had no right to throne on account of two reasons. First of all, Pandu was the king, Pandu was the emperor, and Yudhishthira and Pandavas were sons of Pandu, and so they are eligible, and they are the actual person who should rule the empire, because Dhritarashtra was already disqualified, so he is no longer the emperor. At no point of time Dhritarashtra was emperor. He ruled as a regent when Pandu was not there. Pandu had died, and the children were not mature enough to take over the kingdom. So at that time, he acted as a regent, or you can say a representative of the emperor. The regent can now be the emperor, like our representative, ISKCON representative, cannot be the Shaguru because they are only representatives only. They are representatives of Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada is a Diksha Guru, and they are only Ritiks only. They cannot claim that they are bona fide gurus, Diksha gurus. Just like a regent cannot bona fide claim that he's a bona fide emperor. He cannot. So Duryodhana was a son of Dhritarashtra, who was not the emperor. So only Yudhishthira had the rightful place, the right to rule over the Bharatavarsha. And secondly, Yudhishthira was elder to Duryodhana. And so, as per rules of inheritance, the firstborn is the person who is going to be the Maharaj or emperor. So, on both counts, Yudhishthira was the rightful emperor, but Duryodhana, using deceptive methods, crooked methods, cheating, along with his uncle Shakuni, he deprived or dethroned Yudhishthira and tried to grab this the empire. But he could do only for a short period. After that, the war commenced, and in the war, every one of the Kauravas was annihilated, totally annihilated. So Shaunaka Rishi was asking, after annihilating these aggressors rightfully, because he's fighting for the right cause, and also it is a desire of, more importantly, the desire of Sri Krishna. Yudhishthira became emperor, and after becoming the emperor, how he ruled over the country or the empire is a question that Shaunaka Rishi raised is very relevant, because Yudhishthira is commonly accepted or acknowledged as a Dharma Vardham Varishta, because he is the foremost or greatest of all religious men. But when even the great persons, if they are in a position to be emperor, which is also, a position which you can use it in the wrong way also, and it offers a lot of scope for sense gratification, and many emperors are known for their sense gratification acts, and finally the whole empire will be destroyed in no time. So Shaunaka wanted to know whether Yudhishthira was really practicing the religious principles, which is a master, of which he is a master. So that's a right question, because sometimes this happens. When this opportunity is there, then even very great persons, very knowledgeable persons, they fall for the temptation. They are being tempted by Durga Devi, the Maya Devi, and sometimes they fall for it. So Shaunaka was asking whether Yudhishthira was also one of that in the category where after getting power, he is using it for his personal gratification. And more importantly, he is assisted by his brothers also. So there is a very good possibility that Yudhishthira will be ruling the right line, because he's a greatest of all his persons, authorities, and is supported or is helped by his very, very able younger brothers, who are also very, very religious. But still, Shaunaka Rishi posed a very relevant question: how did Yudhishthira rule? So, reply to that, Sudha Vacha, Sudha is saying, Vamsham Kuro Vamsha Devagninusudam Samdohitva Bhavavano Hari Niveshayitva Nijaraja Ishwaro Yudhishtiram Pradimana Babuvaha Pritamana Babuvaha. Sudha Goswami said, Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the maintainer of the world, became pleased after re-establishing Maharaja Yudhishthira in his own kingdom, and after restoring the Kuru dynasty, which had been exhausted by the bamboo fire of anger. So Sudha Goswami is starting and just giving brief background how Yudhishthira regained the kingdom after the war, which was compared to a fire in the bamboo forest. The fire can start in the bamboo forest without any external resistance or any external cause, because by friction, simply by friction, the bamboos catch fire and there'll be great bamboo forest fire, and be very difficult to exhaust it. And this forest fire is similarly used to express the idea that the Kurukshetra war was due to the envious nature, the envious temperament or envious consciousness of the rulers of Kuru dynasty, namely the Dhatarashtras or sons of Dhritarashtra headed by Duryodhana. And because of envy, there was a lot of friction. And ultimately, the war commenced, and in that war, many of them got annihilated. Although it is said that Krishna is nothing to do with these kinds of temperaments or this kind of gunas. Krishna is aloof from that, because this is caused by the gunas which are prompting the both parties to an open war. So this is the work of gunas, but Krishna is otherwise interested in re-establishing religious order. So he wants to maintain the creation whereby the conditioned living entities can use this the climate, the favorable circumstances to go back to Godhead. This is the whole purpose of material creation, to enable these Badha Jivas to shake off the shackles of their gunas and enter into the kingdom of Krishna. That is the purpose of the material creation. And so Krishna wanted no obstacles in that path where the jivas can freely work towards their liberation without any hampering by outsiders. So when that happens, when there is adharma is predominant, then Krishna will definitely see to it this adharma, and the persons who are indulging in this dharma, religious activities, are annihilated. So this is Krishna's desire. So it is expected, or it is a duty of all the jivas to abide by the instruction of the Supreme, because that is most beneficial for individual jivas. He need not create any ideologies of his own or propagate his opinion as gospel or great truth. He has to simply follow the instructions of Krishna and teach others also, especially in case of the husband should teach wife and his children. The guru should teach his disciples, and the king should teach his citizens. So it is a desire of Krishna that such persons who follow the infallible Lord, infallible instructions Lord, because only that can bring up the situation ideal for self-realization and God realization. Nobody else, any non-conditioned soul cannot manufacture any ideology of his own, because as we know, all the jivas are limited by the four limitations are there. In God's plan, there is no limit, no such gunas are there, not there. The four limits of limitation of jiva is not found in Lord. So only Lord, the perfect Lord, has a full powers, a full authority, or full power. Only He has the perfect plan to help these conditioned souls, not any other individual. So the person who is following this instruction of Krishna and properly guiding citizens is a right emperor. So that is a person is behind this the country or the government. If the person is perfect, the government is perfect. If the person is corrupt or contaminated, the government becomes contaminated. Government, although in a democratic setup, the government is accepted to be supreme, it is actually the person who runs the government who is most important. So he should be the person who is acquainted with the principles of Shastras, who is a representative of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only such persons can really help others. So the conception of one state or one world cannot be brought about by thinkers or philosophers like Karl Marx or organizations like UNO. No, it's not possible. Because they are all limited persons, limited by these four limitations. So only Krishna or his true representative can guide the conditioned person, soul back to Godhead. And this is a foremost duty of the emperor. And Yudhishthira carried out this responsibility, fully conversant with the knowledge conveyed to him by Bhishmacharya and Krishna, is mentioned in the next verse. Nishamya Bhishmoktam Atha Achidoktam Pravutta Vijnana Vidhada Vibhramam Shashasa Gamindra Ivajidashrayam Paridhi Upantam Anujanuvartida. Maharaja Yudhishthira, after being enlightened by what was spoken by Bhishma Deva and Lord Shri Krishna, the infallible, engaged himself in the matters of perfect knowledge, because all his misgivings were eradicated. Thus he ruled over earth and seas and was followed by his younger brothers. So whatever misgivings Yudhishthira had after the Kurukshetra war was eradicated by wise counsel from Bhishma Deva as well as from Krishna. So he's no longer in a depressive mood. Everyone who wants to lord of a great empire is always interested that this should be witnessed or experienced by others. And in this case, namely the cousins of Yudhishthira. But the cousins were not there, they were all killed. So Yudhishthira, as a perfect representative of Krishna, ruled over the country but as a matter of duty only. So Sahanuja, like different lords different devas like Indra, Chandra, Surya, Varuna, Vayu. They are all representatives of the Supreme Lord. Same way, Yudhishthira was also representative of Lord. Here, it should be understood that these devas actually following Vamana. Vamana is of Krishna only. But as you know, 12 Adityas, the 12th one is Vamana only, the last one. Although he is the youngest, all of the Adityas or Devas, they look upon him for their proper guidance. Same way, the Pandavas look upon Krishna for their proper guidance. And Maharaja was ideally very enlightened leader, unlike the modern democratic leaders who have no idea, no clue as what should be the final destination or goal of the conditioned soul, which includes the emperor as well as citizens. So a wrong emperor or wrong ruler can never guide his citizens properly. Andha yathandha yamano. If they are blind, the persons who are not religious or not bound by the religious principle or accepting religious principles, he is no longer perfect, is no longer fit to guide us. Yudhishthira, on the other hand, was strictly following the words or instruction of Bhishma Deva as well as Krishna. So he knew that we have to depend on Krishna. Krishna is Ashraya and we are Ashridas. So nothing of our own can really or nothing of our own assets. We think wrongly identify all our intelligence, all our strength, or physical abilities as our own. But a wise person like Vishra knows that everything, whether it's body, mind, or intelligence, everything, all the materials one is using, is created by Krishna alone, and Krishna is a stable factor, he is an independent factor, and we are all dependents only. And because Yudhishthira had this knowledge, he said that Vidhada Vibrama, he completely washed off all misgivings by following the wise words of Bhishma Deva as well as Krishna. So it is stated in the Shastras, one should follow the great Mahajans like Bhishma Deva only and understand the true position that we are 100% dependent on Krishna because Krishna is providing everything for us. Nothing is our own. Our body, our intelligence, or the materials that we are using, nothing is our own. So this is the infallible authority of Krishna, and the conception of one world can be fulfilled if we follow the infallible authority, which is because it's infallible because all its principles are infallible and it is universally applicable. No one, not even the greatest of philosophers, whether Plato, Socrates, all the modern times, the so-called Western philosophers, they are not perfect, and nobody can follow. Not maybe somebody able to follow, but not all can follow the ideology propagated by these conditioned souls. So, if there is a conception of one world, it can be realized only by following the instruction of Krishna, which is infallible. So Yudhishthira knew this. Yudhishthira had good knowledge of this. So very humbly, as a representative of the Supreme Lord, he was ruling the kingdom. So this is what Shaunaka Rishi wanted to know, and how Yudhishthira ruled over, given in some details in the following verses, which we'll be seeing next week. Thank you very much. Any questions? Right. Vancha kalpadruvascha kripa sindhuvevacha paitanam pavane Vaishnavibhyo. Nanda Kodi Vaishnava Jai